Good evening, everyone. My name is Ryan Daes, your regular anchor on the RFC Tuesday podcast, Season 8. I am a registered financial consultant and a practicing financial planner, as well as a risk management specialist. Welcome, everyone, to Season 8 of the RFC Tuesday podcast. But before we start, let us thank IARFC Philippines, the Philippine chapter of the International Association of Registered Financial Consultants, for putting together this podcast. The IARFC Philippines is an association dedicated to the craft of financial consulting. The association is the sole organization authorized to conduct the RFC conversion courses, as well as continuing education in the field of financial consulting. Season 8 is our international series in partnership with the IARFC Home Office and superb support of IARFC Public Relations Officer, Ms. Susan Capa. Episode 1 of our Season 8, our topic is the language of referrals. The secret to generating referrals and transforming personal introductions into new clients boils down to two key traits: confidence and fluency. It's all about mastering what you say and how you say it, in a manner that inspires action while remaining completely natural and authentic to your personal communication style. Everyone here knows that the most enjoyable and effective way to acquire more ideal clients is through personal introductions. However, most financial professionals have not truly mastered the referral process and therefore miss many opportunities for growth. Our special guest tonight, and the first for this season, is no other than Bill Cates. You heard it right. Bill Cates, not Bill Gates. So, as a successful entrepreneur, Bill Cates has built and sold two successful businesses. After the sale of his second company, Bill turned his attention to helping financial professionals multiply their best clients by adopting proven processes to generate personal introductions from advocates and communicate more compelling value. Bill is author of 3 best-selling books: Get More Referrals Now, Beyond Referrals, and his newest book, Radical Relevance. He's also the host of the acclaimed Top Advisor podcast, currently ranked in the top 10% of all podcasts worldwide. Not just in the US, guys, worldwide. Recently, Bill was named the #1 influencer for financial advisors in a survey by Indigo Marketing. Bill was presenter at the 2023 IARFC Virtual Summit and in the 2024 IARFC 40th Celebration and Conference. Aside from being a successful entrepreneur, influencer, and podcaster and book author, Bill is also somewhat an adventurer. He has trekked through the Himalayas of Nepal and the Andes of Peru. He has also lived on a houseboat in Kashmir, India, and climbed Machu Picchu. He cycled through the countryside of Vietnam, reached the summit of Mount Kilimanjaro, camped in the Arctic Circle, and Bill has toured the country as the drummer in a rock and roll band. He's also a musician, guys. The most important thing for you to know is that thousands of financial professionals are using Bill's system to attract a steady flow of high-quality clients through referrals and personal introductions. It has worked for them, and it will work for you, for sure. Please help me give a warm IARFC welcome to referral coach, Mr. Bill Cates.
Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate this. Great to be here with you.
Okay. Let's fast track your background for our listening audience, Bill. Were you successful at first in getting referrals?
That's the first thing, is just have the awareness of the importance of getting connected to other folks. And I picked up a phrase along the line that goes like this: the way of the world is meeting people through other people. And the referral, the introduction, is the warm way we get into their lives. And that's what hit home for me. And then I just slowly got better and better and better at using the referral process to the point when it came time to start this particular business, I knew that's what I wanted to focus on. I wanted to help financial advisors reach more people to do the important work that you do, and that the best way to reach those people is to get introduced to those people.
Yeah. I always remember my former leader back in the day that if you don't have referrals, if you don't have names, you don't have any business. Anyways,
Tough. Yep.
speaking to your title, Referral Coach International, how
hmm
did that come about? How did it evolve into that?
Sure. When I first got started with my business, I wasn't really focused on referrals specifically. I was focused on prospecting in general. I like prospecting. I like identifying new prospects and clients. I like the game, the dance that to create the interest and get them interested. And what happened for me is this was many years ago. This was in 1995. I listened to some audio program from a life insurance agent in the United States around referrals, and I thought, wow, I really like that, but I would teach it this way and I do it this way. And so that's what spurred my interest. And then, when I first started the business, my business was not international, but I aspired it to be international. I wanted it to be international. So I named the company Referral Coach International. And it really wasn't until a couple of months after that I got an international engagement, and I
Okay.
go, okay, now it's true. Now I really am international. So sometimes we just have to have a vision of what we want and name it, and then we can make it happen.
Uh, Millennials now they call it manifesting, right?
Yes, that's right. That's right.
So it's like you were an accidental referral coach, somewhat. You
A
stumbled
little
into it.
bit. Well, yeah, it's I was waiting for the right vision for my business. I had a sense of my business, but I was waiting for the right vision to come. And, a lot of people get stuck waiting to have the vision before they take action.
Mhm.
And that's nice when we can get a clear vision of where we're headed. But sometimes we have to live into that vision. Sometimes we have to just take action with faith that the vision will come. And that's what happened to me. I got started with my business knowing I wanted to become an expert in a certain area, but I wasn't quite sure where that would be at first. And then I lived into it. And so it's always better to take action waiting for the vision than to wait for the vision before you take action.
It's better to hit the ground running, right? When
Uh,
you want
yes,
these things
sir.
to happen for your business.
That's right.
Since you do have international, can you relate how you adapted? How do you adapt with different cultures when approaching people or when you're coaching them or teaching them? How do you do that?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you one thing I've learned is that what I teach really is universal to everywhere in the world. I've been to Asia, I've been to Europe, I've been to Africa, I've been to South America, um, Australia. I've spoken on every continent except for Antarctica, and it really is the same. And in the sense that most agents and advisors feel a little uncomfortable asking for referrals. They don't want to hurt the relationship. They don't want to come across needy or pushy, all the various things that go on in the brain that don't always serve us well. And that's universal everywhere. It's really pretty much the same. When I'm giving presentations, the only thing I have to change really is sometimes the examples, sometimes the metaphors. I'll use American sports metaphors, and I can't use those when I'm traveling to other countries. But all the principles, and we'll talk about this as I know as we go today. I like to deal on the level of principles, strategies, and tactics. And when we know the principle at play, when we know what we're trying to accomplish, then usually the strategies and tactics can follow from there. So as we go today, I'll make sure I cover some of the principles. And so you can take that principle, which is universal, it's international, and then apply it to your business and to your culture. Because cultures are different a little bit. So sometimes the strategies have to change a little.
So that's the only time that you adapt the principles that you're teaching. It's
Yeah,
nice.
yeah,
Very,
yeah. Context is important, right? And culture is important, and we have to be aware of that. But the principles are really the same.
yeah. So it's part of the connection that you make to the person
Yes, yes.
you're trying to uh, help, or perhaps get some referrals, or get uh, invited to share with them, or referred, right? So, well, that's very interesting. But is it more difficult to get referrals in financial services industry than, let's say, the real estate business, or perhaps in the medical field, or any uh, other industries that are not related to finance?
Yeah, so it can be a little more difficult in the financial services industry, obviously, because you're talking about people's personal financial matters. Most people are very private with that. Not everyone, but most people are very private. And so when I'm dealing with financial advisors that work on the business to business, they might be talking about business benefits, retirement plans for corporations. It's easier for them because they're not talking about someone's specific personal finance. It's more business resources. So yes, with financial, it can be a little more difficult. I shouldn't say more difficult. Uh, you'll find fewer clients want to participate in that. They're concerned. Their biggest concern, by the way, which is easily alleviated, is they don't want, they want their financial information to remain confidential. And so it's always important to let your clients know if they ever do introduce you to a friend or a family member or a colleague, that everything you do for them is completely confidential, and vice versa. What you'll do for their friend, always, always stress the confidentiality. And that will actually help. That helps a lot in the referral process when you emphasize the confidentiality.
Fantastic. So it's not just here in this side of the world where people are concerned about privacy, and well, uh, not being exposed too much in public, though. So it's true wherever you go, it's the same situation. Okay. So what motivates prospects to call you? So this is very interesting because especially here, rarely will you encounter Filipinos calling up or looking up on the web, finding a financial advisor, financial consultant, and hey, can you help me out? It's we really hunt for our practically hunt for our clients here, our prospects. Even if they were referred, we have to go through a lot of uh, sort of gates to
Mhm.
to be able to contact some people, unless we were given the direct mobile number or something. But there's always this veil, or gate that we have to go through. So
Mhm.
uh, how do you get past it? What motivates prospects to? How do
Right.
we somewhat, not really induce, somewhat induce them to call us,
Yeah.
perhaps?
Yeah. Yeah. So the key here, and I address this in my book, Radical Relevance, the key is to be relevant. In other words, if you're being introduced, what the introducer, what your client says about you and the work you've done, how it relates to that person, is critical. Otherwise, the prospect won't pay attention. What you say to them has to be relevant to them. You have to have a sense of understanding. That's the beautiful thing about referrals and introductions, is that from the introducer, you can learn some things about this prospect. And one of the best questions you can ask of your client when they're introducing you to someone is, what's going on in his life or her life or their life that's important to them right now? We know that money intersects all aspects of one's life. So whatever is important to that prospect, whether it's having a new, their first child or their second child, or changing jobs, or getting close to retirement, whatever is going on in their life, money is involved in some way, right? So we want to make the introduction about that. We want to make the follow-up about that. And then really one of the biggest obstacles that you have in the Philippines, we have in the United States, it's universal, is in physics they call it inertia. It's someone is stuck either not doing anything or they're stuck moving in a certain direction that may or may not be the best direction for them. So what we need to do is we need to be able to show them that there's a gap between where they are and where they may want to be financially in terms of investments, in terms of insurance. If they can see that there's a gap, if they see that they're missing something, that either there's a problem that could happen because of what they have done or not done, or if there's an opportunity that they're missing that because they just don't know how to achieve that opportunity, then they're more likely to take action. We have to make sure that we talk about what we do, not in a way that's aspirational, like I'll get to it someday. It's critical. It's important. And so, and that takes a confidence, it takes skill to reach out to people in a way that we question their assumptions and we expose a gap between where they are and where they want to be. That's through the questions that we ask. And if they see a gap, if they see, oh, this is something I better fix, or they say, yes, this is an opportunity I want to take advantage of, I don't want to miss it, it becomes a critical thing, then they're more likely to take action. They're more likely to respond to the introduction and respond to us as we follow up from that. So one of the best questions you can ask, by the way, if you're in front of a prospect and they want to think about it, or they're not sure they're ready to take the action that you're recommending, one of the things you want to say is, that's fine, certainly up to you, your decision. Let's take a look at the consequences of doing nothing. Let's look at what happens should we not move forward with my recommendations. And when you share with them the cost of doing nothing, the cost of not taking any action, sometimes that's enough to get them to trigger and take action to where they need to go and to follow your recommendations. So it's all about being relevant, and it's all about exposing the gap between where they are and where they want to be. And that's what will motivate people to take action.
It's very fantastic. Basically, you also need to train the person where you're asking the referrals from, basically. So they need to have a clear vision of what you can do for them, basically, right?
Yes, and absolutely. How you talk about your value, but it has to come from the questions you ask, right? It's context is everything. So if you just show up with a prospect and talk about what you do without knowing anything about them, a good chance that what you say will fall on deaf ears. They will be thinking, well, this person doesn't really know me. How do they know what I should be doing? Right? So our process always has to start with questions. And then once we get the answers to certain questions, then we can tailor and customize what we say to fit them and make it relevant to them. Again, it's about being relevant and compelling.
Wow. Well, that's great. Well, right now, can you give us ideas on how to promote ourselves without looking like we're bragging or lifting our own things? That's hard to do because uh, we want to practically advertise the things that we can do for clients. But of course, if it comes out like bragging, people might
Right.
not believe us and not even take our calls or perhaps our advice if we do go through.
Yes. Yeah, I'll tell you, I have a little technique for doing this. What I like to do is rather than me say something good about myself, although by the way, it's important that we feel good about the work we do, and it's important that we're okay, talking confidently about the work we do and what we help people do. So we have to get over any shyness we have about the importance of the work, right? So when you're talking about what you do, you want to make sure that you come from the place of knowing what you do is very important. And it is important. You can change lives. You can change, generations of lives through the work you do. So I was talking to one of my clients, Michael Schmitz, and in California, and I was asking him about how he perceived the value of what I did and how he told me he talked to other people about the work I did. And I said, what do you tell people? He says, I tell people that Bill Cates makes asking for referrals as natural as breathing. And I went, wow, that's pretty good. I never would have thought of saying that. Now, if I said that, if I said I can make, asking for referrals as natural as breathing, or if I put it on my website, it would sound like bragging. It would sound like marketing hype, right? But if I quote Michael, then I'm just quoting what someone else said. So I like to say I don't brag, I quote. So my client, Michael Schmitz, said that. So how that translates to folks listening is, first of all, it's important, very important, to talk to your clients about the value they perceive in the work you do. Ask them, tell me about the value you feel you've gotten from this process or from our overall relationship. What has been working for you? How has it made a difference for you? So you want to see how they talk about what you do. And then they will often say things that you can then use in how you talk about what you do. So you can say, my clients tell me, rather than saying, I can do this, or I'm really great at this. My clients tell me I'm a good listener. I've worked on it. My clients tell me that I listen very well to others, and that seems to be an ability that I bring to the relationship. So you can talk about your skill, what you feel is good about what you do, but you soften it a little bit by saying, my clients tell me this. So it's important to know. I'll give you another example. I was coaching a couple of guys, Daniel and Pat, two advisors, and I said, make sure you talk to your clients about it. So they did, and they came back to a coaching call, and then they said they were with a client, and they asked the client, how he perceives the value. And he says, I call you guys my dream makers. And they said, well, tell me more. He said, well, you guys have helped me figure out what are my dreams, what's important to me. You're making sure I'm setting money aside to make sure I fund those dreams. You're my dream makers. And they go, oh, that's perfect. We love that. So now when they talk about their value, they say, well, one of our clients said that we're his dream maker, that we've helped him reach his dreams. So it's a way to say good things about yourself, but you're quoting what a client said. So that softens it a little bit. That's what I like to do and teach people to do.
That's great. Basically, you cite anecdotes of
Yes,
what
yes,
kind of
stories,
impact your
examples.
routine.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Great, that's great. So, what do you say to turn referrals into solid introductions?
Yeah, so first of all, let's make a distinction between a referral and introduction because we've kind of used both words a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, the referral, often called a referred lead, is, call Ryan, use my name. All right. Well, so you call Ryan and he sees a phone call coming in. He doesn't know who you are. He's not going to pick it up.
Yeah.
You're a stranger. Maybe he's wondering why, if you leave a message, maybe he's wondering why his friend, gave a name out to him. So because it's so hard to reach people these days for lots of reasons,
Mhm.
we need to think in terms of introductions. We need to think in terms of actually getting connected. In fact, I would suggest that whether you ask for a referral or it's volunteered to you, the conversation is not complete until you've collaborated, negotiated, arranged for a good introduction, a good connection. So, first of all, the principle around this is your clients want to protect their relationships.
Yeah.
That's another reason why the introduction is important because it gives them a chance to protect the relationship because their friend hears from them before they hear from you.
Mhm.
Another principle at hand is that you want to get connected, right? So they want to protect their relationships and you want to get connected. So what you want to do is make sure you come up with a way to get introduced that feels safe, feels comfortable,
Mhm.
and is also effective, right? So people feel comfortable, but they also say the right thing and you say the right thing to create a good connection and generate some interest. So first of all, it starts with we're not done till we get introduced. So, Ryan, let's say if you said, I think you could talk to my sister and brother-in-law I'd be happy to introduce you. Great. Let's talk about how you introduce me. I'm curious what's going on in their life that's important to them right now. What made you think of them, if I didn't suggest it? How do you think they'll react to this introduction? What do you think you need to say to them to spark their interest in hearing from me? So I'm using the referral source I call the introducer as that source of information I talked about earlier to make sure that we craft a good introduction. You might also say, my guess is your sister and brother-in-law would like to hear from you before they hear from me. Let's talk about what that looks like, what that sounds like. Now, in financial services, I found that if my client really needs to talk to their sister and brother-in-law first or their friend, then we have to respect that. We have to honor that. I prefer to get an email introduction. I love what I call an email handshake, where it's, Bill meet Laura, Laura meet Bill. Here's why I'm connecting the two of you. Bill's done some great work for me. I've known Laura forever. It's an introduction with an email, as if I was sitting with you and Laura walked in and you introduced us that way, but through an email. That way, Laura, the prospect, hears from their friend first. So when I reach out with an email, it's not a surprise. So the introducer has protected the relationship a little bit, and that person knows why you're reaching out, and then you reach out to suggest a quick phone call after that. So it's all about, again, the principle of creating a safe and effective introduction. Safe that it feels comfortable for everybody, and effective that we've hopefully sparked the interest of that prospect so that they'll take our call, and then from there we can work on setting up the first appointment, etc.
Great, great. So it's all about finding that connection and somewhat training, as I said a while ago in when a question of mine a few minutes ago, where practically you're training your client to introduce you and connect you with a person that they're referring for an
Yeah,
introduction.
you're teaching them what works the best. That's
Yes.
the way I like to say it. In fact, that's a great phrase I found is, if Ryan, let's say you're introducing me to someone, say, Ryan, here's what I found works the best. And most people like to know what works the best.
Yeah.
And so I would suggest perhaps an email introduction. Also, getting introduced in person is great.
Yeah.
If
Even
it's
better.
natural, if it fits the relationship, if they meet for lunch occasionally or play golf or go to a sporting event, whatever fits the relationship naturally, then getting introduced in person is great. But we don't want the logistics of getting that introduction to get in the way of the enthusiasm of the introduction. So that's why I like an email handshake. And so, yeah, we're educating our client. Here's what works the best. Here's what I found works very well. You make a suggestion of the email handshake, for instance, and then you have to be flexible to see what they like and what they think will work well based on their relationship. So have your favorite way to get introduced, but then be a little flexible to what your client is willing to do and what they think will work the best in their relationship.
That's I like that term, an email handshake.
Mm.
Sometimes
Hmm.
here we use Facebook a lot, so sometimes we some clients would create a group chat to introduce the advisor.
That's
So
good.
I guess that would
Yep.
work as
The
well.
link. Oh, can work on LinkedIn, can work on Facebook. Um, Here's the bottom line. As long as it works, right? As long as it
Yeah.
produces the results. My philosophy, if it's legal, ethical, moral, and people get helped and produces good results, then by all means give it a try. Um, so that's where the strategy and the tactic may change a little, but the
Mhm.
principle is the same, right? The principle is a safe and effective introduction.
Great, great. So now let's talk about developing our own style when we do this. How do we do that?
Hmm.
How do we develop our own style in connecting for that introduction that will help us lead us to
Yeah,
more.
so that's why I wrote my book, The Language of Referrals, and provide very specific language, word tracks, scripts. Not that I expect anyone to memorize them exactly, but to take them as a template or as a guideline to then personalize it. So one of the best ways to come up with your own style, especially when it comes to encouraging referrals, introductions, asking for introductions, is to visualize a real client in your mind's eye. Just, okay, I'm sitting in front of so and so, and then type in, what would I say to check in around value to make sure they're seeing the value? What would I say? Type it in to um, to transition to a request for possible introductions to some specific people that they know, or some categories, money in motion, life events. And so you type it all out, and then you read it out loud a couple times, and then you adjust. You make it a little tighter, a little more succinct. And then you speak it out again, and then you practice it a couple times with a colleague, with a friend or a family member. You can even practice with a client who loves you, right? They'll let you practice with them a new idea, a new technique. And that's how you personalize it. That's how you make it natural for you. Because it's very important that you follow the right principles and that you do it in a way that's natural for you. Because if it's not natural for you, either you won't do it anyway, or if you do, it won't sound quite right because it's not really you. So there are, again, certain principles and things to follow, but then it does have to be your own style. And that's very important. So some people, for instance, Ryan, are very playful when it comes to
Yeah.
asking for referrals and introductions because it's their nature to be playful. Art is a financial advisor in Baltimore, Maryland, and he says, we're just brainstorming, Ryan. I'm looking for introductions to about 100 people. And you'll go, 100 people? I don't even think I know 100 people, right? So you've got to be kidding, right? So it's fun, it's playful. Do they have a lottery in the Philippines?
Yes, we do. We do.
Yeah. So Doug is a financial advisor in the Midwest in the United States, and he says to his clients, he says, "Well, we're just brainstorming. First of all, do you know any lottery winners?" And his clients laugh and they go, "No, Doug, we don't know any lottery winners.
The
That
good
was our
way to
retirement plan
organize.
until we met you." So if you're playful, then be playful. Have some fun. If you're not, then don't force it. Don't try to be someone you're not.
Yes.
So yeah, your own authentic style is critical to everything you do, really.
It's really all about connection and
That's
being
right.
who you
That's right.
really are. Okay, that this really gets me interested with all of your books. So, how
Well,
do we
thank you.
get a copy? Is it available online? Are there ebooks available? Are your
Yeah,
books in different languages?
yes, and I actually haven't checked Amazon in the Philippines, but I've tried to make it available around the world as much as possible. So, um, my book, Beyond the Referrals, I believe is available. And there's an audio version, there's a Kindle version. My book, Radical Relevance, I also made a Kindle and an Audible version. And then my latest book, The Language of Referrals, I also made available in Kindle and audio. Especially the last one, because how you say the words sometimes really makes a difference, and people like to hear how I say it. So, um, Beyond Referrals, Radical Relevance, and my newest book, The Language of Referrals. Hopefully, it's available through Amazon in the Philippines.
Wow. So we'll check that out. So, guys, you can
Yeah,
look.
you can always, email me if you want, and I can ship it to you. But the shipping might be rather
Yeah,
pricey.
that would be expensive. It's quite
Well,
far,
if you get
very far
together
out
with a bunch
shipping.
of colleagues and you order 10 or 20, then you can absorb the shipping,
Yeah,
with your friends.
correct, correct, correct. Okay, so before we go on, how can our watchers and listeners learn more about your new book and all the other tools you provide
Yeah.
for financial professionals?
Yeah. Thank you. So for the newest book, Language of Referrals, if you just go to www.languageofreferrals.com, languageofreferrals.com, there's a short video there that explains the book and some copy. And there's a link to Amazon, but that link is to the Amazon in the United States. So you'll probably want to try something different there. My website is referralcoach.com.
Okay.
referralcoach.com. And we have a blog there that's free. I have a podcast that's free. If you go to referralcoach.com/resources, referralcoach.com/resources, a lot of free resources there, guides and videos and checklists. So a lot of ways to get in my world that won't cost you anything. And,
Wow.
down the road, if you want some coaching or something, then, I'm available for that for sure.
Wow. So there's already a wealth of tools available for free. So
Yes,
as we call
very
it,
much so.
freemium, premium,
Premium.
premium.
Yes. Yes. I have a friend, Mary Beth Kuzmeski, calls them freemiums instead of premiums, freemiums.
Yeah, because they're free. But of
Yeah.
course,
I
it
like
would
to
be
say, Ryan,
different.
I like to say they're free. They're free, but valuable.
Wow, that's a good way of describing it. It's not just a
Thank you.
free, so it's something that will be helpful and valuable. Okay.
Right. Right.
Tell us about the IARFC virtual conference and the 40th annual conference. Why did you decide to be a speaker in those events?
Well, number one, I was asked, which is nice. And, it really boils down to my mission in my business.
Mhm.
See, I believe that everyone on this planet deserves to make educated financial decisions that are in their best interest, right? Everyone deserves to make educated financial decisions that are in their best interest. And we know the importance of agents, advisors is to help people do that. And left to their own, they may do nothing or they may make the wrong decisions that aren't in their best interest. So that's my belief. And so therefore my business mission is to help you, to help everyone listening reach more people, to take that financial leadership role in people's lives and to question their assumptions and to educate them and to help them make educated financial decisions that are in their best interest that they wouldn't make without you. So my mission is to help you on your mission. And so whenever I can speak in front of a group, IARFC, um, and other groups, I know I'm fulfilling my mission. I know I'm helping the larger population in this world uh, get on good financial ground, good financial footing that helps them. It helps people around them. There's a ripple effect to the work that we do, and that you help one person or one family with their finances, that helps other people. It helps generations to come. It's very powerful, important work, and so that's my involvement in IARFC is to help the people at large make better decisions.
Uh, this is practically my last question. I think this is something that is forthcoming. Uh, People are abuzz with what we're talking about with your interview right now. Uh, I guess we hope you would agree to this question or answer positively. Would you recommend the virtual conference to us here in the Philippines, the way you did it with IARC, home office and all? Can you do that for us?
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, you know, um, it's better to be in the know than to be the last to know. And that's what a conference like that, an educational conference, will do. So we want to have the knowledge, and then we want to take action on that knowledge.
I guess the board is taking note of this right now for sure. So I'm excited, especially if you get invited in the up. Well, we'll be having our annual conference sometime in August. I hope you'll be part of the lineup. Wow, this is
Thank
a
you.
great time for us. We enjoyed having you here. Our next podcast is on July 9 with our guest, Mr. Alan Kiefer, MRFC. Let's learn on long term care in retirement and how to prepare for it. I would just like to remind everyone of their membership renewal. So, because if you're active members, you now receive free continuing education seminars and access to the official IARFC website, www.iarfc.org. where each member of good standing is recognized when searched by clients and prospects. Please do be reminded that we only use the RFC designation if we are members of good standing. For our membership renewal information, please do contact Ms. Arlene Baguyo at iarfcph@gmail.com or through her mobile number 0917-645-7846. Or you can also contact our EVP, Ms. Grace De Vera Escobar at g.escobar@iarfc.org or through her mobile number 0917-157-7528. So contact IARFC Philippines now for your membership renewals. Our podcast episodes are shown every second and fourth Tuesday of the month. That is why it is important to follow us on Facebook. Episodes are pre-recorded and are broadcasted through Facebook Live. On behalf of our executive producer, Ms. Grace De Vera Escobar, this is the RFC Tuesday podcast saying,
It's better to be in the know than to be the last to know.
Thank you, Bill. Good night, everyone. See you in the next episode. I think it should be
All right,
something.
guys. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for
Susan,
your time,
thanks for
Bill.
setting it up. Bong, thanks for helping. Everybody, thank you.